The following morning arrived. Dronacharya called upon the Pandavas and Kauravas to assemble. "Stand around this tree," he said. Following his instructions, with the tree in the middle, they all arranged themselves in a circle. Dronacharya instructed Ashwatthama, "Distribute bows and arrows to everyone," and Ashwatthama distributed them to all 105 participants. Then Dronacharya said, "Take your arrows, notch them, and aim at the bird figure on the tree." Everyone aimed their bows at the bird figure. Duryodhana asked, "Shall we release the arrows now, master?" Dronacharya replied, "Keep aiming at the bird until I say so," and left. 4 hours later, Dronacharya returned. What he saw surprised him. The Kauravas had put aside their bows and were chatting, joking, and laughing among themselves. Duryodhana was sitting comfortably, relaxed. Bhima was sound asleep. The Pandavas, too, were not in the same position they had been 4 hours ago, except for Arjuna. Arjuna alone had maintained his concentration, aiming steadily at the bird for the entire 4 hours without faltering. Dronacharya, angry, shouted, "What did I tell you? And what are you doing?" Startled, everyone quickly stood up and resumed aiming at the bird. Dronacharya then went to each one and asked, "What do you see?" Each person gave a different answer. "I see the bird, I see the leaves, I see the fruits, I see the sky, or I see the tree." Finally, Dronacharya reached Arjuna and asked, "Arjuna, what do you see?" Arjuna replied, "I see only the eye of the bird." Dronacharya then asked Arjuna, "What else do you see?" Arjuna replied, "I see nothing else." "You see nothing else, but why? Aren't there trees, leaves, fruits, and the sky everywhere?" Dronacharya asked. Arjuna replied, "These things are all there, but I don't want to look at them. My only focus is on the bird's eye, and so I see nothing else." When Dronacharya heard this, he smiled and said, "What are you waiting for? Release the arrow." As soon as he gave the command, Arjuna released the arrow. The sound of the arrow cutting through the air echoed, but no one could see where the arrow had gone. There was still a bird figure on the tree, but its head was gone. After a short pause, the figure fell from the tree. Dronacharya lifted Arjuna up proudly and said, "This is the kind of determination an archer must have. I promise to make you the greatest archer in the world." Seeing all this, Duryodhana was consumed with jealousy. This teacher is clearly biased against the Pandavas, he thought bitterly. The next day, Dronacharya summoned both Duryodhana and Dharmaraja and asked them the same question. "Which one of you is a better man?" Duryodhana confidently replied, "I am the better man." In contrast, Dharmaraja humbly replied, "Duryodhana is better than me." Surprised, Dronacharya asked Dharmaraja, "Why do you say that Duryodhana is better than you?" Dharmaraja explained, "I always insist on righteousness and constantly urge my brothers to follow the path of Dharma, which often causes them trouble. But Duryodhana, whether good or bad, always wishes his brothers to be happy." When asked the same question, Duryodhana replied, "Just as Dharmaraja said, my only concern is the happiness of my brothers." Dronacharya then replied, "Duryodhana, a person of true character should be like Dharmaraja. Watch him, absorb his wisdom, and draw inspiration. Now is the moment to examine oneself." And he walked away. Duryodhana was stunned. He couldn't understand what had just happened. "We both gave the same answer to the same question. Dharmaraja admitted that I was better, and I claimed that I was the best. If the answers are the same, why praise him and scold me? Oh, of course, the teacher is clearly biased in favor of the Pandavas." Filled with resentment, Duryodhana began to harbor a deep grudge against Dronacharya. "Friends, do you believe that reading a single story can change a person's life? Do you believe that just telling a story to your children can teach them the values they need in life? Do you believe that the solution to every problem you face, or may face in the future, lies in reading a story? Yes, it's possible. It is only possible with the greatest epic ever told in human history, the Mahabharata. This story is 100 times more powerful than any blockbuster movie. It's a challenge. The Mahabharata, written in the words of Vikram Aditya, is available as a complete story in 2 parts, both as physical books and ebooks, on Amazon and 43 other online stores worldwide. This masterpiece has been translated into 54 languages worldwide. See the links in the description below the video. Order now, because this is not just a book, it is a treasure of wisdom that your life needs. One day, Dronacharya gathered everyone together and announced, "Today, I will decide in which skill each of you will excel. Each person has a unique talent, and now we will determine what each of you is naturally gifted in." He first called Bhima and asked, "Bhima, which weapon do you want to master? Sword, axe, spear, bow, or mace?" Bhima confidently replied, "Acharya, holding a sword in my hand feels like holding a broomstick." Give me the mace, I can crush mountains with it." Seeing this, Duryodhana thought, "Among the Pandavas, Bhima is the strongest. To compete with him, I must master the same weapon." So Duryodhana also chose the mace. Dronacharya decided that Dharmaraja should specialize in spear throwing and chariot warfare. Nakula and Sahadeva were assigned to swordsmanship and horseback riding, where they could achieve great proficiency. Finally, Dronacharya called Arjuna and said, "On the battlefield, the most powerful warrior is always an archer. Do you know why? The enemy has to be within 2 steps of you for other weapons to be effective, but an archer can kill an enemy even if he is 1,000 paces away. Each weapon performs only its function, but a bow, when combined with mystical power, becomes an astrum. A single arrow can turn into 1,000 and destroy the enemy in an instant. Mastering both the physical and mystical aspects of weaponry is an art that only you can achieve. Of the 105 of you here, only you are worthy of mastering the art of archery. You have the patience, focus, determination, and discipline required for this skill. Among all of them, you will rise to become the greatest warrior," Dronacharya declared. Hearing this, fear began to creep into Duryodhana's heart. As the Pandavas and Kauravas trained, one thought plagued Duryodhana's mind. "We, the 100 Kauravas, can stop Dharmaraja, Bhima, Nakula, and Sahadeva. But Arjuna, there's no one among us who can stand up to him. What shall we do?" Days passed. One day, Dronacharya took all of them to the forest for horse training to teach them how to ride in a battlefield. All their horses galloped in the same direction. Arjuna's horse ran alongside Dronacharya's. "Arjuna, take out your bow," Dronacharya instructed. "To your right, you'll see a wild boar running in the distance. Aim for it. So far, you've practiced shooting arrows at stationary targets. Now you must master the skill of hitting moving targets. Draw your bow." Arjuna's horse continued to gallop, and the boar in the distance continued to run. Arjuna drew his bow and aimed at the boar, but before he could release his arrow, 10 arrows came out of nowhere and hit the boar from different directions in quick succession. The boar let out a loud cry of pain from the unexpected attack. Everyone was stunned. The arrows had hit the boar in an instant, but none of them had been fired by Arjuna. The group was stunned. Where did these arrows come from? Who had fired them? Before they could recover, another arrow whizzed through the air, piercing the boar's throat and exiting through its brain. The boar collapsed on the spot, lifeless. The scene amazed everyone. Dronacharya and the others dismounted and rushed in the direction from which the arrows had come, eager to discover who had fired them. There stood a hunter with a muscular body, a tiger skin wrapped around his waist, and an arrow in his hand. When 106 people approached him at once, the hunter immediately drew his arrow and aimed at them. But instead of aiming at them all, he aimed directly at Arjuna's chest. The hunter was none other than Ekalavya. Friends, the next episode will take the content to a whole new level. Don't miss it. Let's meet again next Saturday at the same time. If you haven't ordered my Mahabharata book yet, do it now. The links are in the description below this video. Also, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, do so immediately. Until then, take care. Bye.